Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's newspaper review on your favorite channel, Africa Edge TV, located in Osun State, Nigeria. I am Oladele Akpara. Let us review some story from Business Day and the Punch newspaper. On the Business Day newspaper, Senate rejects bill to amend 2022 Electoral Act. The bill to amend the Electoral Act 2022 has failed to pass second reading at the Senate on Wednesday. President Muhammadu Buhari had written to the upper and lower legislative chamber seeking amendment on Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022 to pave the way for political office holder to serve as delegate. The section in the Electoral Act which barred political office holder from serving as delegate of political parties during conventions of political parties. Buhari said that was denial of democratic rights of certain citizens. The bill was read the first time on Wednesday last week in the Senate and yesterday in the House of Representatives. The Federal High Court Abuja, presided over by Justice Iyank Ekwo, and on Monday restrained the National Assembly from amending the act pending the determination of a suit filed before the court by the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Justice Ekwo ruled on ex-party application brought before the court by the party, which he ruled that the Nigerian Senate and House of Representatives should not tamper with amendment of 8412 of the Electoral Amendment Act. On Tuesday, Senate President Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan insisted that lawmaking was within the power of the parliament, hence nothing should encumber the legislative houses from making law. At today's sitting, he urged the Senate leader, Senator Yahya Abdullahi Abubakar, to read the bill the second time. The bill, however, failed, and by legislative processes, it won't be read for the third time. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives yesterday stepped down on the consideration of the bill in deference to the FHC injunction. Now to the Punch newspaper. PDP Labour Party kick as US Secretary of State calls Tinubu. The People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party on Wednesday expressed anger over the telephone conversation between the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the President-elect Bola Tinubu. Blinken pleaded stronger ties between the US and Nigeria during a 20-minute telephone call to Tinubu, who is in France. The US Department of State spokesperson Matthew Miller, in a statement, said Blinken spoke with the president-elect on Tuesday. The development came 24 hours after the Joe Biden administration announced the imposition of visa restriction on Nigerians who allegedly disrupted the recently concluded election. The US said the affected persons were involved in voter threats, result manipulation, physical violence, and other activities that undermined democracy. The identity of the culprits were, however, not made public, but dismayed by Blinken's communication with Tinubu. The PDP standard bearer Atiku Abubakar, who is challenging the ex-Lagos State governor's victory at the tribunal, said the Secretary of State's assurance of bilateral cooperation contradicted the position of the US on the general election in Nigeria. The former vice president was referring to a statement issued by US government on March 2 in which it acknowledged the complaints and frustration expressed by some Nigerians about the manner in which the presidential election was conducted and shortcomings of the technical elements used in the poll. Also, the chief spokesperson of Obidate Presidential Campaign Council, Eunice Atanko, said it was worrisome of Blinken to be discussing bilateral relations with Tinubu. During the phone conversation, Blinken said he was committed to further strengthening the US-Nigerian partnership with the incoming administration of the president-elect. Miller said the two leaders discussed the importance of inclusive leadership that represents all Nigerians, continued comprehensive security cooperation, and reform to support economic growth. Still in the Punch newspaper, LP faction representatives clash at Election Petition Tribunal. The Presidential Election Petition Court on Wednesday refused to recognize any representative of the Labour Party except the first petitioner, Peter Obi, who was in court. The court, presided over by Justice Haruna Tsamani, reached the decision, having been possibly intimidated that there was a disagreement between two factions of the party before the court resumed proceedings. When the matter was called, Obi stood up to announce his presence, followed by Dudu Manuga, the national women's leader of the party, who sat close to Obi. Meanwhile, before the court could record Manuga on the list, Lamidi Apapa quickly stood up to announce his presence as the representative of the Labour Party. However, Justice Haruna interjected and said, "It appears there was a little disagreement. We are not recognizing any representative from the party." Earlier on, factions of the Labour Party could be cited at the Peg Court, engaging in a war of words over which faction is the authentic one. The Lamidi Apapa-led faction of the LP was challenging why members of the party loyal to Justice Aburit were in the court. They asserted that the ruling of a High Court of the FCT suspended the Abure-led faction remains. The court rose on the last adjourned date for the continuation of the pre-hearing of Peter Obi's petition. The drama, which could have interfered with today's proceedings, appears to have arrested with this intervention. And that is all on Newspaper Review for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Africa Edge TV and comment to all our social media handles. Join us tomorrow for another edition of this program. The news was compiled by Adenipekun Afolabi. I am Oladele Akbara.